Welcome to Natural Health Talk, your go-to podcast for all things related to holistic wellness, natural remedies, and living a balanced, healthy lifestyle. Be sure to visit our sponsor, TopNaturalHealth.com, for special promo code pricing on all of the products mentioned in our episodes.
Hey everyone, let's talk about stress and how it seems to have this weird pact with our waistlines, especially for us guys, right?
It's like a conspiracy.
I know, right? So today, we are diving into the science behind why that is and exploring a supplement called CortiSync to see if it can really help us win this battle of the bulge. We're basing this deep dive on an article from TopNaturalHealth.com called The Ultimate Guide to CortiSync, Reducing Cortisol for Effective Weight Loss in Men. They even given us a special promo code for you guys to check it out, but more on that later. First, let's get into the nitty-gritty of what happens in our bodies when stress takes over, because we all know cortisol is public enemy #1 when it comes to this whole stress and weight gain thing.
Absolutely.
It's like it sends those cravings into overdrive while somehow making it harder to burn fat at the same time. It's the ultimate betrayal.
Right.
So how does CortiSync play into all of this?
Well, they claim to regulate something called the HPA axis.
Okay, before everyone zones out at HPA axis.
Yeah, it sounds a bit technical, I know.
It does. Think of it like the control center for cortisol production in your body. So it's not just about suppressing stress, it's about actually helping your body handle stress better in the long run, right?
Exactly. And that's where things get really interesting with this particular supplement, because they're going all natural with their formula. We're talking ashwagandha, rhodiola rosea, phosphatidylserine. The list goes on.
Wait, hold on. Are you saying that phosphatidylserine might actually help curb those crazy post-workout cravings I get? Because if so, that's a game changer. My brain goes straight for the snack aisle after a tough workout.
It's definitely possible. You see, a lot of those cravings actually stem from, you guessed it, those pesky cortisol spikes. Think of phosphatidylserine as a sort of tune-up for your brain cells, helping them communicate better so your brain is better equipped to handle the stress and make healthier choices.
Like resisting those cravings.
Exactly.
Okay, so what about the other ingredients? You mentioned ashwagandha and rhodiola rosea. Those are both good for stress too, right?
Absolutely. They're both adaptogens.
Which means?
They help your body adapt to stress more effectively. Ashwagandha in particular has been used for centuries in traditional medicine. And now, finally, science is catching up. There are studies suggesting it can significantly reduce cortisol levels.
Okay, how significant are we talking? Give me the numbers.
Well, one study actually showed a 30% reduction in cortisol in participants who took ashwagandha regularly. Imagine feeling 30% calmer. That's the kind of potential ashwagandha holds for reducing cortisol levels.
Wow, that's pretty impressive. So we're talking fewer cravings after a stressful meeting. Maybe it's easier to fall asleep at night.
Exactly. It's about addressing the root causes of those stress-induced behaviors.
And what about rhodiola? Where does that fit into the picture?
Rhodiola is fantastic for combating fatigue and brain fog, which, let's be honest, most of us experience when we're stressed. It's like a battery boost for your brain, helping you feel more energized and focused, even when you're under pressure.
Interesting. So with these two ingredients alone, CortiSync is aiming to tackle both the physical and mental effects of stress, it sounds like.
Absolutely. And that's just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to this formula.
All right, you can't leave me hanging like that. What else is in this all-natural stress-busting lineup?
Okay, well, there's magnolia bark extract, which has also been used for centuries in traditional medicine for its calming and anxiety-reducing effects.
Magnolia bark extract. I feel like I should be sipping this in a spa somewhere.
Right. But the great thing is it promotes relaxation without that drowsy feeling you might get from some other calming supplements.
Oh, that's good to know.
Yeah, and of course we can't forget about good old zinc.
Right, for when I inevitably get stressed, which makes me more susceptible to getting sick.
Well, yes, but zinc is about so much more than just immune support, although that is important too. It's actually essential for hormone balance, including, you guessed it, cortisol.
Oh, interesting. So it's kind of a multitasker when it comes to keeping our systems running smoothly.
Exactly. Keeping your zinc levels topped up can help keep those cortisol levels in check and your metabolism running smoothly. And a well-functioning metabolism equals a happier, healthier you.
It all comes back to the metabolism, doesn't it? Okay, so we've got this all-star lineup in CortiSync, but the big question is, does the science actually back up these impressive claims?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Right. So let's get into it. The article does mention some clinical studies, so let's delve into that research and see what we can uncover.
Let's do it. So you're ready to dig into the research.
You know it. Let's separate the hype from the hard-hitting facts.
All right, let's start with ashwagandha. Remember we talked about that 30% reduction in cortisol?
Yeah, that definitely piqued my interest.
Well, it's not just a catchy headline. That figure comes from a study where people took ashwagandha every day for a couple of months.
What happened?
Not only did their cortisol levels improve, but they also reported sleeping better and feeling less anxious overall.
So it's like a triple threat against stress, less cortisol, better sleep, calmer mind.
You got it.
Yeah.
It's about tackling those interconnected aspects of stress, not just one symptom at a time.
That makes sense. So what about rhodiola rosea? Does it have similar research backing it up?
It does. Studies show it can actually reduce cortisol levels after just 1 week.
Wow, 1 week. Seriously. Okay, back up a little bit. What kind of studies are we talking about here?
We're talking about well-designed studies involving real people, not just test tubes in a lab.
That's good to hear. But even if the results are promising, we always need more research, right? Especially when it comes to the long-term effects.
Absolutely. It's important to be cautious and acknowledge that research is ongoing.
Right. Always good to keep that in mind. So we've got some evidence suggesting that ashwagandha and rhodiola can help regulate cortisol. But what about those post-workout cravings I mentioned earlier? Is phosphatidylserine really the secret weapon I've been searching for?
It just might be. Remember how we talked about phosphatidylserine helping your brain cells communicate more efficiently?
Yeah, like a brain power upgrade.
Exactly. So when your body stresses out after a tough workout and pumps out cortisol, phosphatidylserine swoops in to help your brain manage that stress response more effectively. In fact, there was one study where those who took phosphatidylserine experienced smaller cortisol spikes after exercising and reported having fewer cravings afterward.
Now that's what I'm talking about. Less cortisol, fewer cravings. Sounds like a win-win to me. But even with these promising studies, are we just scratching the surface here? Is there more to uncover?
That's a great point. While these initial studies are encouraging, we definitely need more research, especially long-term studies, to fully understand the effects of these ingredients, especially in this specific formulation.
So CortiSync might not be a guaranteed slam dunk. What should people listening be aware of before they consider trying it?
You hit the nail on the head. It's all about critical thinking and remembering that everyone is different. What works wonders for one person might not work for another.
So it's not as simple as popping a pill and calling it a day.
Definitely not.
Yeah.
It's crucial to think of this as one piece of the puzzle when it comes to managing stress and improving well-being.
What else should people keep in mind?
Don't throw out the healthy lifestyle choices, things like exercise, sleep, and a balanced diet. Those are still the foundation.
Okay, so no ditching the gym or living off pizza just because you're taking a supplement.
Exactly. Think of CortiSync as potentially giving you an extra edge, not a free pass to indulge in unhealthy habits.
That's a good way to put it.
And of course, always talk to your doctor before starting any new supplement, especially if you have any health conditions or are taking medication.
Solid advice. Now, I want to shift gears a bit and talk about the bigger picture here. If CortiSync does what it claims, if it really can help manage cortisol, what does that mean for guys, in terms of their overall health and well-being?
Well, for starters, remember how we talked about cortisol's role in that stubborn belly fat?
How could I forget? It's like my own personal kryptonite.
Right. Well, by keeping cortisol in check, you're basically telling your body it's safe to let go of that extra padding around the midsection.
Okay, now you're speaking my language. So less stress, less belly fat. I'm listening. What else is on the list of potential benefits?
Don't forget how high cortisol can mess with your metabolism. By bringing things back into balance, you're essentially giving your metabolism a much-needed tune-up.
So we're talking better fat burning, more energy. This is starting to sound pretty good. What else can guys expect if they get a handle on those cortisol levels?
Think about how you feel when you're constantly stressed out.
Mm-hmm.
You're probably not exactly hitting the gym with enthusiasm, are you?
You're telling me the last thing I want to do after a stressful day is hit the weights.
That's the cortisol talking. It's trying to conserve your energy. But when you manage stress and lower those cortisol levels, you're much more likely to feel up for those workouts.
Okay, I see where you're going with this.
Plus, some studies actually suggest that lower cortisol can enhance muscle growth and recovery.
More energy, better workouts, maybe even faster results. This CortiSync is starting to sound like a superpower in a bottle.
I wouldn't go that far, but it's certainly interesting to think about. And let's not forget about the mental benefits too.
Right. It's not just about looking good, it's about feeling good too. How does cortisol impact our mental game?
Well, when cortisol is constantly surging, your brain is stuck in overdrive. It's no wonder people feel anxious, irritable, and have trouble sleeping.
It's like your brain never gets a chance to chill out.
Exactly. But by lowering cortisol, you're essentially hitting the reset button on your stress response, giving your brain a chance to relax, recharge, and function at its best.
So, less stress, better sleep, more focus. I'm starting to see a pattern here.
Exactly. It's all about restoring balance so that your body and mind can thrive. That's what's so interesting about this whole CortiSync approach. It's not just targeting one specific issue. It's addressing the root cause of so many problems, stress and its impact on your hormones.
So, it's not a quick fix. It's about making sustainable changes for the long haul.
Precisely. And that's what makes this so interesting. It's not just about what you take. It's about the choices you make every single day.
I love that. It's about taking control of your well-being on multiple levels.
Exactly. And there are so many simple yet powerful techniques you can incorporate into your daily routine.
All right, let's hear it. What kind of stress-busting wisdom can you share with our listeners today?
One of my favorite is something called mindfulness meditation. I know it might sound a little bit out there, but it's really just about taking a few minutes each day to focus on your breath, be present in the moment, and quiet the mind.
I've heard a lot about mindfulness meditation. It's like hitting the pause button on that constant mental chatter, right?
Exactly. And it's incredibly effective at reducing those stress hormones, especially cortisol. Plus, it's free, you can do it anywhere, and it doesn't require any fancy equipment.
I like the sound of that. Any other stress-busting strategies you're a fan of?
Oh, absolutely. Another game changer is simply getting enough sleep. It might seem obvious, but so many of us are chronically sleep deprived, which takes a serious toll on our bodies and minds.
Sleep is definitely essential. When I'm well rested, I can handle anything. What about exercise? That's a big one, right?
You already know it. Exercise is like a magic bullet for stress. It helps your body release those feel-good endorphins, which have incredible mood-boosting and stress-busting effects. Plus, it's a healthy way to work through all those pent-up emotions that can build up when we're feeling stressed.
So true. Sometimes a good run is all it takes to clear my head.
And never underestimate the power of social connection. Spending quality time with your loved ones, laughing, having fun, these are all powerful antidotes to stress.
They don't call it laughter therapy for nothing.
Exactly. And sometimes just getting out in nature can do wonders for those stress levels.
I'm with you 100% there. There's something so grounding and peaceful about spending time outdoors.
Absolutely. Whether it's a walk in the park, a hike in the woods, or just sitting under a tree, nature has this incredible way of calming our minds and reminding us there's a bigger world out there.
Okay, so we've got mindfulness, sleep, exercise, social connection, and nature. That's quite the stress-busting toolkit. Any last words of wisdom for our listeners before we wrap up our deep dive into CortiSync?
Just remember, managing stress and taking care of your health is a journey, not a race to the finish line. It's about making those small, sustainable changes over time and finding what works best for you.
I love that. So we've covered the science, the ingredients, the potential benefits, and even some solid stress-busting strategies. What's the final verdict on CortiSync?
Well, based on everything we've discussed today, it seems like a promising option for guys who are looking for a natural way to support their body's stress response and their overall well-being. But remember, everyone is different, and what works for one may not work for another.
That's important to keep in mind. There's no one-size-fits-all solution.
Exactly. But hey, knowledge is power, right? And now our listeners have the information they need to make an informed decision about whether CortiSync is right for them.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Thanks so much for joining me on this deep dive. It's been an enlightening conversation.
My pleasure. Always happy to geek out about health and wellness.
You know, it's amazing how we can explore one topic like CortiSync and end up down this rabbit hole of fascinating information. Like, I'm learning so much about stress and its impact on our bodies, even beyond just the supplement.
Right. It's wild. The more we learn, the more I realize that taking control of our stress levels is like unlocking this whole other level of well-being.
Absolutely. It's not just about like feeling less frazzled, it's bigger than that. It's about setting the stage for better health in every aspect of our lives.
100%. And that's where those lifestyle changes we talked about earlier come into play.
Totally. It's like we keep coming back to CortiSync as this potential tool, but the real magic seems to be in those healthy habits.
For sure. It's about supporting your body in as many ways as possible.
Yeah.
Exactly. And one of the most powerful habits, maybe even the most powerful habit someone can develop is like a mindfulness practice.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
It's not just hype, I swear. It's incredible what a little mindfulness can do.
I know it seems like it's everywhere these days, but there's a good reason for that.
Right. Mindfulness, at its core, is really about training your brain to stay present, stay calm, even when everything around you feels chaotic.
It sounds almost too simple, but it
Yeah.
works.
I know. And the best part is it doesn't have to be some big, elaborate routine. You can literally start with just taking a few minutes every day to focus on your breath.
Okay, now that even I can handle, just a few minutes to reset my brain. Count me in. What else can people try to, dial down the stress a notch? We talked about getting out of nature earlier, right?
Yes. Never underestimate the power of a little nature therapy.
Sometimes all I need is to just, be surrounded by some trees, get some fresh air, and I instantly feel my stress melting away.
It's like hitting the pause button on all the noise of everyday life.
Exactly. And it doesn't have to be some crazy week-long camping trip either. Even just a quick walk in the park or stepping outside to soak up some sunshine for a few minutes can make a world of difference.
100%. It's like giving your nervous system a break.
And speaking of breaks, we gotta talk about sleep. I know it sounds obvious, but man, when I'm running on fumes, that's when stress seems to take over.
Sleep is everything. It's crucial for so many reasons, but especially for recovery and managing those stress levels.
Sleep is definitely my superpower. When I'm well rested, I feel like I can conquer the world.
I hear that. And remember, it's not just about the quantity of sleep you get, but the quality. Aim for 7-9 hours of solid sleep each night.
7 to 9 hours. I'll try. What else? Any other golden nuggets of wisdom for our listeners when it comes to building those healthy habits?
Oh, absolutely. Don't forget about the importance of human connection. Spending time with your favorite people, nurturing your relationships, having some laughs. These things might seem small, but they're incredibly important for managing stress and just boosting your overall well-being.
It really is true what they say about laughter being the best medicine.
Right. Plus, having a support system, having those close friends and family who you can lean on, that makes all the difference when life throws those curveballs our way.
Exactly. We're not meant to do this thing called life alone. Reach out to your people, share your experiences, and definitely don't be afraid to ask for support when you need it.
Well said. It's all about finding that balance, right? Taking care of your physical health, nurturing your mental and emotional well-being, and surrounding yourself with good people and good vibes.
Couldn't have said it better myself. It really is amazing how much of an impact these small, simple, but consistent changes can have.
It's not about overhauling your whole life overnight. It's about taking those baby steps and building from there.
And with that, my friends, we've reached the end of our deep dive on CortiSync and all things stress, cortisol, and men's health. We covered it all today, from the science behind the supplement to practical strategies anyone can use for taking control of your stress and reclaiming your well-being. As always, I've had an amazing time chatting with you.
Likewise. I'm always down for a good deep dive into the world of health and wellness.
To our amazing listeners, remember, knowledge is power. Arm yourselves with reliable information, make informed decisions about your health, and never hesitate to reach out to a healthcare professional if you've got questions or concerns. Until next time, be well, everyone. And don't forget to check out TopNaturalHealth.com. They've got tons of great info over there, and we've got those special promo codes we mentioned earlier.
From all of us here at Natural Health Talk, thanks for listening. Be sure to subscribe and don't forget to visit our sponsor, TopNaturalHealth.com, for special promo code pricing on all of the products mentioned in this episode.